Hi friends, Sarah here with Faithful Finish Lines, and this is where we share weight loss frequently asked questions. Every week, either Becky or I, who have both lost 100 pounds, answer a reader question, or sometimes we hop on here together. So today's question is, how can I make myself do that really hard stuff that honestly I just really don't want to do? Whether it's exercise, that's a really big one for so many of our readers and the women in our programs. How can I make myself exercise when I hate it? How can I make myself eat healthy food? How can I make myself get organized or meal prep or whatever it is? So how can I make myself do these hard things? Well, I want to share with you one strategy that I use that's super effective, and I call it make it smaller. Make it smaller. Now, so many times when people come to us and they ask about these different things that they're struggling with, they've got all this emotion wrapped around it of like, I'm such a failure, I'm no good, I've tried all these different times, or they say things to themselves like, I'm just not good at exercise, or, I've never been good at eating healthy foods. I just love junk food so much. And when I hear people say things like that, especially when they're saying like, I'm a failure, I'm not good at this, what I think of it is, you just haven't made it small enough. It's still too big of a task. So this is the way this works. When you have a project that you need to work on, that you're avoiding, putting off, struggling to do, you have trouble getting the motivation to do it, I want you to make it smaller. And one really key thing to this is you have to make the tasks so small that they seem almost stupid. It seems almost ridiculous that you would write down or do something that small. There's a couple other things that are important with this to make it actually work. So I'm going to give you an example from my business, because this strategy works not just for weight loss, it works for all kinds of different things. I had a speaking event coming up, and I don't speak too often. Sometimes I used to speak a lot more earlier in my business, but I was going to speak to this beautiful group of women, and I take my speaking events really seriously. I've always heard the rule that for speakers, that for every minute that you speak, you should spend an hour in preparation. And that's true. I spend so much time planning my script, planning my slides, praying over the women that I'm going to be speaking to, and then actually practicing. I practice out loud. But it makes me a little bit nervous when I'm speaking, and so there's just something about the motivation, and it's so many hours for something that's going to end up being such a short period of time. Whatever it is, I don't know, whatever it is, I have trouble getting myself motivated to do that. So I use this technique. So the first thing I did was I had written down on my calendar, I had specifically set aside 30 minutes that I knew I was going to prepare for this particular presentation on this particular week. Well, I was avoiding it. I worked on other things. I scrolled through my social media. I got out a load of laundry and started folding it. So the laundry is always a key for me, that if I start folding laundry, I'm really avoiding something because I really, really don't like to do laundry. So I knew that this task was too big, even though it's only 30 minutes, which is not that long, it was too big. So I needed to make it smaller. So instead, I broke that down into one aspect of the task. Like I was just going to work on my script. This was a presentation I'd done before, but I wanted to refresh it, make it really personable to the group that I was speaking to. And I wrote on my calendar for the next day, I was going to work on my script for 10 minutes, which is really short. That's not that long, but that felt doable to me, rather than looking at, how am I going to do the script? How am I going to do the PowerPoints? How am I going to fit in the time to plan? How am I going to talk to the person who's leading this group? It was just 10 minutes just working on the script. And I remember thinking to myself, okay, I can do that. I can do 10 minutes. So it's important that whatever you choose, like I said, it might be so small that it seems stupid to you. But when you write it down on your calendar, rather than thinking, oh geez, I'm going to have to do that tomorrow, I'm already dreading it, you're thinking, okay, I can do that. I can do 10 minutes. So whatever your task is, I can just do that. So that's what I did, and I was able to do my 10 minutes. And sometimes I go past that, and that's totally fine. But there's a couple other things that you have to keep in mind with this strategy to make sure that it works. So make it small, really, really small, so small that it almost seems silly. That's number one. Number 2, it has to be something actionable. So when you're done at the end of the time, you have to be able to say, yes, I accomplished this thing. If it's just, for example, let's say yours is meal planning and you want to spend that time scrolling through Pinterest, but you don't have any recipes to choose when you're done, then you haven't really done anything. You've been passive. So you have to choose something active. Maybe it is looking through Pinterest, but when the 15 minutes is up or 10 minutes is up or whatever time you choose, you have 5 new recipes written down. And maybe you don't know yet how you're going to get to getting those done and stuff like that, but you at least have something that you can say, yes, I was productive during this time. So that's number 2. And then number 3 is when you're done, you have to set a time before you walk away from that task and write it down, ideally, on your calendar of when you're going to do the next step. Otherwise, all that happens is you end up with 1,000 unfinished projects, and we all know how that is. We have them stuffed in our closets and in our drawers and things that we've started and we just never quite finished. So those are the 3 key aspects of this that are really important to make it work and make it smaller. Number 1, you have to choose something that you don't dread doing. It's small enough that it feels realistic. Number 2, you have to make it actionable so that when you're done, you can actually see that you've accomplished this task. And then number 3, before you walk away, you have to schedule in and ideally write down when you're going to do the next step. So I would love to hear your feedback. If you try this, I would love to have you try it. I call it make it smaller. Try make it smaller on some task that you're struggling with when it comes to weight loss during this next week, and let us know how it goes. Come back and tell us all about it. And I would love for you too, if you haven't yet, to join our free 5-day challenge. It's called Grow Your Faith, Lose the Weight. And it comes in your email. I'll put the link below. It's a wonderful way to grow in your relationship with God and also focus on weight loss. And they're blended together in just the most beautiful way. So this has been Weight Loss Frequently Asked Questions with Faithful Finish Lines. We have a form now where you can submit your questions. We love to get your questions and we love to respond. So shoot us a question in there, and who knows, maybe in one of the future sessions we'll be answering your questions. I'm Sarah with Faithful Finish Lines. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.